Hey, what's going on YouTube? Climb here. Thanks for joining me on another gameplay breakdown episode. Now here, I chose this gameplay specifically. This is the most recent Iron Banner. From a previous video where I had talked about wanting to bring up the different ballistics and sights that are in Destiny and how important it is to have some variability and changing it up, right? So right now I'm running Hawkmoon and a sniper on my Gunslinger. Now check out this sight, this gun, right? My shots are seem a little inconsistent. I'm running accurized ballistics, so the very first ballistics tree. And so for at least the first couple minutes of this video, I'm going to talk about, I want you to focus on how terribly I'm struggling with this sight. I mean, besides me just trying to slowly peek around, not trying to double peek there. I notice someone pops up on my radar, so I want to try to gun him down. I'll watch this gunning down again. So sometimes it seems like those shots should land and they don't. So I back off. I saw another guy come up, so I just want to reposition with my health, low. I'm gonna get into with my teammates. So radar starts popping up pretty hot and heavy. So watch me slide underneath the sight line here, which is great. I push in a little bit. Unfortunately, there's some lag. I missed that. Had I got that, that'd have been great. But you see him shooting through the wall. That's totally my red bar connection. If you played with me, and I'm sure many of you have, it's so dumb. Our internet sucks. But you can see that there's a lot of inconsistency or difficulty to figure out if my hits are landing, my shots are landing. Now, part of that is, admittedly, part of that is due to my internet currently. At this moment in the game, I'm red barring, so it's hard to get that consistency. So here again, I slide underneath that sight line because I know it's a hot and heavy sniper lane. I'm gonna fall back a little bit and try to help Diesel. Unfortunately, I don't get there fast enough, so I'm gonna chase this guy. The reason I don't chase him hard enough and even jump around this corner is because I thought he saw me, so I wanted to make sure that I didn't die. Now look at those shots. I mean, they're really difficult to pull. I know I'm getting hit at the same time. I know the range, it may be a little farther than it needs to be, but just kind of recognize that range for accurized ballistics, right? So that's the furthest range and highest stability as far as perks go that Hawkmoon has to offer. Totally choke on a on a snipe there. I think I end up killing this guy though, which is always sick. But anyway, I kneel down behind some cover and I make the decision to change to aggressive ballistics. Now look how far down statistically, stats-wise, that my range and stability fall. Now what I think is important to realize is that while range and stability stats help, they're not always indicative to how good you're going to do. Now if you're curious, just as a side note, I'm running the ATS-8 Arachnid helmet. Now, if you haven't played with it, as far as your Gunslinger, if you haven't played with it since it's been updated in Taken King, or I think it was the April update, I've been really enjoying it. Excuse me. I've really been enjoying it for my Gunslinger because it extends the duration of your golden gun. So, with it used to be the Acleophage symbiote, right, to get those 4 shots, and they would last forever. I mean, you'd get some killer gameplays. But just so you know, if you're gonna play Gunslinger, try out the ATS-8 Arachnid helmet and put on in your Gunslinger perk tree the first one, the first skill tree where it makes your shots more accurate, your golden gun shots more accurate, and pair that up with your range. Because I have to fire it from the hip. You saw me zoom in with the golden gun, and it was really difficult when they're close quarters, and it throws off your aim so much. Oh, look at this kill stealing, so good. But it throws off my aim a lot, so I have to fire from the hip. And I've really been, I'm playing around with this build a lot, and so I recommend if you are going to do that, run it with that. So real quick, I know this guy's got a golden gun. I'm crouched off the radar. I sight underneath his sight line. And that's just kind of a real good, solid play. Your Vibe and I are just making out. A really good, solid play that I've been trying to preach a lot in these gameplays as far as sliding underneath sight lines and how helpful it is, right? So that dude had a golden gun. And by sliding underneath the sight line, he had, assuming he's going to rush in, I was able to push him, and especially team firing helps, but I was able to push in, and we were able to kind of trick them out a little bit. Anyway, I know I digressed from what I originally wanted to talk about. So about the ballistics, every ballistics has a certain sway to it, right? So even though the range and stability, and with hand cannons especially, we know as Destiny players that range is absolutely key. I mean, king in Crucible, and as a mandate, like rangefinder and rifled barrel, right? Those are mandates almost for having a hand cannon. Oh, I love this strip mine. It's a dirty little, I don't know, dirty little edge, but they also hit, like sights especially, like so quick draw or versus ballistics. So like quick draw is like sure shot, quick draw, true sight, stuff like that. They all kick differently. So not only do they have different aim assists, and they even have little perks like quick draw, the quick draw IS, like you draw it very quickly. They have different stability or different kicks. So the accurized ballistics on Hawkmoon specifically, you saw earlier, kind of pulls far up and to the right. Now it's good to, I will run that and I'll pair that with like a shotgun for those longer sights. I mean, if I'm able to really pace it out. So like Widow's Court is a great example where I'll use accurized ballistics and probably run like a shotgun or maybe a fusion rifle, because I'm able to kind of pace those shots out. But on this map, or on this gameplay where I'm pairing it with the sniper, where the sniper is my long distance weapon, and I'm using the Hawkmoon as my primary closer distance weapon, I want to be able to fire a little bit quicker and be able to control that recoil. Now, I mean, certainly if you've read Aggressive Ballistics, it mentions specifically that it has more predictable, controllable recoil, which is great. But even so, look at this range. So that range, if you remember from earlier in the gameplay, is about equal to what I was shooting earlier, and with accurized ballistics, and I got completely outgunned. I mean, there's a lot of circumstance around that as far as, you know, connection, distance, getting hit with a different primary, crap like that. But even though my range perk that you saw on Hawkmoon was a lot lower than accurized ballistics, I was still able to outgun that guy because the aggressive ballistics was much more controllable as far as recoil. So kind of shorten that up. I like running accurized ballistics and a shotgun, or fusion rifle sidearm, for longer, more open maps like Widow's Court. And here, when I'm using it as my shorter range primary, and I want to shoot a little more quickly, then I want to use aggressive ballistics because it has a more vertical recoil. So again, accurized ballistics kind of kicks up and to the right, and aggressive ballistics is almost straight up and down. So it works out really well. I just want you to kind of be aware of that, not only on the Hawkmoon, but on other weapons that you may have. Play around and test out. Like if you have a weapon that you say you want to play around with, that's not necessarily a meta weapon, but that you want to play around with, and it just doesn't feel right to you. It's not feeling good. Mess around with the ballistics or the sights. I mean, just because it doesn't have the quote-unquote god roll of having sure shot, mess around with the different sights. I mean, you'll really find that this one might really be really suitable for you. So like on Amalon hand cannon, specifically for me, I suck with sure shot. Like I know it's got the aim assist value and people love it, but dude, I suck with the sure shot on Amalon weapons. I don't know why. I genuinely have no idea why, but when I changed to the true sight, or even the either true sight or fast draw, that recoil patterns, even though the range is a little bit worse, and the aim assist is a little bit worse. Not the aim assist. I guess it's aim assist. Aim assist is a little bit worse. I'm able to control the recoil a lot better. And so just as kind of like a PSA, play around with different perks as far as like your sights and your ballistics go. And your ballistics are going to be on your scout rifles as well, not just on like hand cannons or anything like that. On exotics, even with sniper rifles, like exotic sniper rifles, they have ballistics perks. Just play around with it. Like if it's not feeling comfortable, that's all I'm trying to say. If it's not feeling comfortable, but maybe you want to try to like it, just mess around with the ballistics and see what works for you. And even from map to map, I mean, again, I saw between like Widow's Court and you see that was a decent range, right? Widow's Court and in this map on Pantheon, it just feels a little bit different. Like tighter quarters, I just want to use a more like strictly vertical, quick firing sightline or sight ballistic. Whereas again, maybe on a more open map, I'd be able to pace out my shots a little bit more. So I want that range value. So with like IS Lunas, Lord High Fixers, range and stability may not always be key. Just be aware of that. You know, may not always be the end-all be-all, which I'm not saying it isn't, but I'm just saying that there's a lot more to your weapon as far as what may work for you. Just more of a PSA than anything else. So I hope you kind of enjoyed this. I hope this helped explain a little bit, or helped to explain a little bit, or what I was alluding to as far as a previous video. Because it's helped me in a lot of my gameplays, just figuring out what sights work for me and what maps, and really just messing with ballistics and sights, from pulse rifles to hand cannons to sniper rifles, and fusions especially as well. So here's my 32 and 5 6.4 KD. Absolutely killing it. Also use the ATS-8 Arachnid on your gunslinger. You won't regret it. It's a lot of fun. Just make sure you have that increased accuracy with it. Alright, thanks for listening. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know down in the comment section. I appreciate you watching.